6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey guys, this is Diary of Hackers. You're all welcome to the special initiative that started some few weeks ago. And interestingly, we are in the fourth edition of the Cyber Ops series. And today, we're going to be having a special guest in the house in person of Dr. Rosys, who will be taking off. Will be taking us on anonymity, what it means to be, what is anonymity, and how to be anonymous on the internet.
Although this session was supposed to hold yesterday, but due to some challenges, we had to move it to today. So once again, we want to apologize to everyone, and we are sorry for any inconvenience that has been caused. So today we'll be looking at anonymity. If you have been following us for a while, we have done 3 other sessions on Cyber Ops series. This is Cyber Ops series 4.0, and today we'll be having our guest hacker, Dr. Rosys, and he'll be taking us on the topic, which is anonymity. So before we start, let's just get to know our guest hacker. So we'll be inviting him to give us a brief intro about himself before we go right into today's session. So Dr. Rosys, can you please unmute and tell us a little about yourself?
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, the delay, I'm having a little bit of network interruptions, but everything is back in order.
No problem. Thank you once again for joining us. So while you were away, I said today we'll be talking about anonymity. So before we start the session, we want you to tell us a little about yourself, what you do, just to get to know you better.
Okay, well, for a class that talks about anonymity, that would be like the opposite of it, but no problem. Let me give an introduction of myself. The official name is Adoja Thank God, but I prefer being called Dr. Roses. Okay. How do I say this now? I'm someone who is interested in digital forensics and then also ethical hacking. And I also am an undergraduate because I think I have to stress the point because this is basically a community from undergraduates. This whole diary of hacker community is basically for undergraduates. So yes, I'm an undergraduate in Federal University of Technology, Mina, and I'm studying cybersecurity. So that's a little bit of myself, and yeah, I think Mr. Josh, is that good enough, or I should say more?
Yeah, that'll be fine, sir. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate your your time, and even despite the yeah. So thank you so much for coming. Can we just dive right into the session?
All right. Yes. Yes. We can dive into the session. So I was thinking I was going to do maybe the lecture kind of presentation, but then I was told it would be more realistic if I did a presentation, like a practical session. So I said, okay, perhaps I'll do the talking. Then if you want to take notes, you take notes, and then we do the practical session, and you see how from being someone anybody could track, you could go to being invincible on the internet. All right. So, first of all, this whole anonymity stuff, what is actually about? So, anonymity is simply about you being able to um, remove your digital footprint. All right, because whatever you're doing on the internet, there's always a track you leave behind. So you've been able to leave a fake or a false trail while you surf the net. That's just the whole idea of being anonymous. And then um, someone might ask, being anonymous on the internet, is it actually like a good thing or is it a bad thing? But then we live in a binary world, so everything is it depends on how you use it. Because being anonymous on the internet has its advantages, as well as it gives people the I think it gives people the freedom or the opportunity to uh, kind of being should I say wicked, or just being so unnecessarily stupid on the internet. Because this whole idea that whatever you do, nobody can be able to track you gives people the opportunity to misbehave. All right. So does being anonymous on the internet, is it a good thing? Yes, it's a good thing. In short, it's a very good habit to cultivate, because um, when you're not anonymous, it means anybody from anywhere can just you can be a target for anyone. All right. You become target practice. Anybody can just gather as much information as they want about you and use it for any malicious purpose. All right. Because okay, besides the fact that any individual could target you like a kind of spear attack, there's also the whole modern day marketing strategies which they use. You visit a site and maybe from there you search about something. Let's say okay. So yes, I was talking about the whole idea of being targeted by marketing companies, and then the fact that third parties could use your information without you being known, and also people selling your information. Now we are in an age where information is power, information is good. The more data you have, people are harvesting data on a daily. So the more data you have about someone, the more power you have these days. All right. So it will be safe in a world where whatever you're doing, because personally I wouldn't be comfortable when wherever I go, whatever I do, there's someone somewhere looking, and then I know that okay, this person knows this. Even I'm not saying you're doing anything bad, but the fact that there's always someone watching you, there's one company out there watching you and telling you that wherever you go, whatever you do, they know everything about you. And then it's even worse where these people can be able to fine tune whatever you see on they control the information around you. All right, to the point that they'll tell you what to read, what to watch, and then unknown to you, someone can just stay and then decide the kind of information you have access to. Okay. But when you're anonymous, when someone doesn't know exactly who you are, you'd be able to uh, when someone can't exactly pinpoint you on the internet, and then you have this whole freedom to information. Okay. And that's why I noticed recently when you visit some sites with maybe a Tor IP, they blacklist you immediately because they know they won't be able to track you. All right. So, but then when we also talking about anonymity, there are levels to being anonymous on the internet. We we have the one we call the transparent anonymity. And then this transparent anonymity is just perhaps people who uses more like the free VPNs and the free proxies, and then they don't have much protection like that. This kind of people, even the proxy providers or the VPN providers are able to log and monitor everything people who use those kind of services do. So in a case where maybe there's a forensic investigation, in a case where there's a forensic investigation, this kind of people won't be they won't hesitate to give out your private information to whoever is coming to whoever is coming to make this kind of investigation. So in this kind of case, it's just like a false hook. Okay, it's just like they're telling you we are anonymizing your whole connection and experience, but in reality everything you're doing is still being monitored. Okay, then we have the one they called the anonymous level. The anonymous level is a lot more secure than the transparent one, but still using some little kind of tricks, websites or services that you use will still be able to decode that, okay, you are behind a VPN or you're behind a proxy. Then we have the elite level. This one is almost impossible. Not like it's not possible, but it's almost impossible. It's everything seems so real that it will be hard, really difficult for someone to identify any personal information about you. All right. So now, when you are talking about being anonymous on the internet, there are things you need to put into considerations. All right. First, you have to consider your identity. All right. So when we are talking about considering your identity, we are talking about who are you on the internet, because the thing about the internet is it's a digital space, is like a virtual space, and then you can choose to be whoever you want to be. All right, you can choose to be a man, you can choose to be a female, you can choose to be a very old man or a very young person. You can choose to be literally whoever you want to be. All right, so first is creating an identity for yourself. And then when you create an identity for yourself, you have to try as much as possible that the identity you're creating for yourself won't be like a replica of who you are in real life. Okay, for example, I'm male. Okay, I'm young. So if I want to create a digital identity for myself, I wouldn't want to be creating something that matches my physical description. I would try as much as I can to maybe do something like I'm a female online, and maybe I'm in my 50s or in my 40s. Okay, and then I can create that kind of identity that will be able to mislead anyone, so that when they are doing a kind of profiling on your identity, they wouldn't match it with the your physical profile won't be able to fit into that virtual profile that you created. All right, so that's another thing you should put into consideration. Make sure that the digital identity you are creating is very, very different, or doesn't have anything in common when it comes to profile between your person in physical and then your person in digital. All right, then we also talk about randomness. Things you do online shouldn't follow a pattern, it should be random. All right, so like let's say if you visit a site, for instance, what do they use to identify you? Perhaps your IP address. They use your user agent. They use it's rare for them to use your MAC address. And then some could use WebRTC to get your private IP too, in case you are behind a VPN or something like that. So now, when you're visiting sites, let's say you are using a Windows system, for instance, and then for every identity you create, you are now having all your identity are having the same user agent, and then perhaps your VPN that you use or your proxy always comes from the same location. It wouldn't take anybody rocket science for them to figure out, okay, all this profile is actually being controlled by one person. All right. So when creating your identity, you have to make sure that you add a lot of randomness into it. Like you could choose random years, random gender. Okay, gender is basically two. So yeah, just either a male or female. But then just make sure your profile is seeing all these things could be another tough job for you. That's why we have services that do this randomly. They generate identity for you randomly that you can just assume and use. All right, and then if even if you generate up to, let's say, 20 identities, you'll see that none of them have anything in relation to each other. So because one thing computer is good at is recognizing patterns, and once you start using patterns, then it means you're not ready to be anonymous yet, because any forensic investigator can just pinpoint, okay, this is who is doing this. All right. Then there are also things that we should consider when we are trying to be anonymous. There's what we call WebRTC. WebRTC is just a kind of technology that was introduced into, I think, HTTP, where a site can be able to get your private IP using this technology we use for online streaming. And like when I mean online streaming, I'm talking about something like video calls and voice call over HTTP. And then they can be able to use that to access your private IP. All right. So we need to put that in our mind. We also need to know about geolocation using IP addresses, and we just have to know how can a website identify you every time you visit them. All right. Then not to forget about trackers and cookies. All right. So, but then, okay, let's see if anybody. Okay. Sorry, I'm seeing someone's question, Bolaji. He's saying if I could shed more light on profiling and randomness. Okay, okay. All right. Now, when we're talking about profiling, we are talking about making a list of categories that an individual fall into. All right. For example, if you'd want to profile someone like me, you'd be thinking of he's a student, maybe he's in his 20s, he's a male. You get, this is his location, he's from this region. Okay, and then when you make all this list of criteria that you think this person fall under, that's just the whole idea of the profiling. All right, but now a good profiler can actually be able to track you easily, right? Because if someone really wants to profile me to find me, it won't take them like me in real life now. Me in real life, if you want to profile and find me, it won't take you a very difficult. It won't be a difficult job for someone to do. But now, me on the internet, for example, let's say I'm female, and then I'm 53, I'm in my 50s, and then I'm from somewhere that's not even in Africa. Or even if I'm in Africa, I'm from a region, let's say, okay, in physical, I'm from the western part of Nigeria, and then I decide to create a digital identity that puts me in like perhaps let's say the northern side of Nigeria. Now, by changing all these little criteria that someone is going to use, you have led the person astray, because when the person will start looking, they won't even look for someone who is in my age bracket to start with. They're going to look for someone who is in the age bracket I specified. They'll be looking for people who are maybe in their 40s to their 60s. Okay, because I'm using an identity that fall in 53. So it means that person would be between 40 to 60. So in this case, when the profiler is doing their analysis, I would have left their search grid already. Okay, me in real life would have left their search grid already, so I would have led them astray. You understand? So that's the whole idea of being random. But now, if at every point in time, one of my digital identity, it's in this age bracket, another one is a male in the same age bracket, another female in the same age bracket. Now, it won't take them rocket science for them to say, okay, look at this person, look at this person, look at this person. What do they have in common? This is probably just one person creating all this identity. And then from there, once they can be able to pinpoint that, oh, all these people is one person, then you've made their job easy. All they just need to focus is trying to make sure they find out who exactly that one person is in physical. Why does this person keep using people who are in this gender? All right. Why does this person keeps doing this? Why does this person use this? And then it could be, okay, perhaps he's an orphan, he lost both parents. Maybe if his parents were still alive, they would be in this age bracket at this time. And then when they do put all this analysis together, they will be like, oh, it's this guy. You get? So that's why you have to make sure that everything is random. All right, even when you're using your password length must not tally with each other. You don't use the same password twice. All right, I know it's a very difficult habit to cultivate, but you don't use the same password twice. You don't use the same set of username twice. You make sure everything you do is totally like someone won't someone who sees it can't be able to identify a pattern in whatever you do online. All right. Then about user agents, sometimes I see people try to use the same user agent over and over. All right, with different. Now it's very difficult for you to see two people using exactly the same thing. Like it's difficult. Okay, even if we use the same kind of computer, the same browsers, they're still going to be a little bit different. A little bit difference between both our fingerprinting. When you do a fingerprint on both of our devices, they're still going to be a little bit different. But now people, you keep using the same user agent and then creating different identity. It's still like you are telling people, you go to a bank for instance, and then you are claiming you're a different person, but each time you thumbprint is bringing out the same VPN. Okay, it's like different five people, you are claiming you are five different people, but all of you share the same fingerprints. So you just have to make sure that things you do are just as random as possible. Okay, and then it's also best you have different layers uh, like okay, what I mean is this: you have different network layers of IPs and proxies. Now, I know most people when they start taking courses on ethical hacking, for instance, and then they are telling you about covering your tracks and all of that. They tell you about proxy chains. Well, proxy chains would be good if your connection would have been fast enough, but then there are ways that you could set up your own custom type of network. Maybe you can use a Tor. You can start with Tor, and then from Tor you build a VPN on it, and then from that, from using a VPN, you can then add a proxy on it, so that if by any means someone is able to scratch out the um, anonymity covering your proxy, which is your third layer of virtual connections now, it, underneath you will still be another proxy that will still send the person off track. So if you had yourself in a layer of like 3 to 5 different anonymizer, it's going to be very difficult for someone to actually crack all those and then get to the point where they'll get to your real IP where you are. All right. So that being said, we are going to do a little bit of practical to see how we can actually try to be anonymous. All right. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen right now. And okay. And then another thing you should do is you should try as much as you can to use a virtual machine whenever you're trying to be um, playful on the internet. Okay, try as much as you can to use a virtual machine. And okay, all right, I'm just going to share my entire screen right now. Okay, I'm going to share my entire screen. So oh boy, this is all right. Okay, so i I am going to talk about things we could use to anonymize ourselves, which is like we have the okay. Um, let me put this on full screen. All right. So we have the free VPNs and proxies. All right. Like I think there's this site that gives free proxy. The name is free proxy. Dot CZ. Right. I hope I'm correct. Okay. Yeah. Yes. So this one gives you uh, some kind of free proxies where you can be able to use to anonymize yourself. For example, if I go to check my IP, let's say I go to net and I try to check my IP. Okay, yeah. So, well, this is saying I'm using a Mac, and then okay, it's even saying my IP is blacklisted. Well, that's your business. You are still going to change that. Okay, so you can even say me using um without using a proxy yet, it's still saying it's still thinking I'm using a proxy. I don't know why. Okay, well, these are some of the issues it's saying. It's saying that my system time is different because I think my system time is somewhere in US. I don't know. And then it's saying my IP is blacklisted. Okay, so let's see what we can do. First, there are add-ons to help you with the whole automation of all this randomness. All right. So Um, we'll go to, this is a Chromium based browser. This is Brave browser I'm using. So we'll go to the Chrome store, Chrome web store. We'll go to Chrome web store, and then we are going to download some. Oh wow. And then we're going to download some add-ons that are going to help us. Okay, so we'll go to the Chrome web store. Okay. So on my virtual machine, I'm using type of proxies, or two type of anonymization. There's the one that's done inside your browser, and then there's the one that's done system wide. Okay, so the one that's done on your browser is just going to affect whatever you're doing within your browser. Like what I'm doing right now is um, the browser based anonymity. Anything I do outside this browser won't be anonymous. Okay, so and then when you do the browser based one, it's, I think I prefer that one compared to proxying your whole system, because it makes you be able to run different types of um, different identities in different browsers. So if you can check right now in this virtual machine, I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 browsers in it. And then I can customize each of them with their own identity. All right. And when you do it, it means every time you don't need to keep trying to change your identity. Like each of these, they're still going to be random, but then it means the identity I've created in the Brave browser, I wouldn't have to recreate it every time that I need it. I know this is the identity I'm using here. And then when I go to another browser, I know anything I'm doing relating to that identity will be done via that browser. All right. But then on the underlying network on your device, you could maybe use a VPN, or you could use Tor. You could use the Tor network on it. So we are going to download a few add-ons. First, we'll start with the one we called a I call it Switchy Omega. I think, Switchy Omega. Switchy Omega is just to help you put in proxies. All right. So yeah, this is it. And then I'm going to add it to my browser. And then we'll go back and we'll download what we call user agent. I already have that, but I'm still going to show you user agent switcher. Okay, it's been added. All right. So okay, this is great. So we have what we call the user agent switcher. Then we, we also have what we call the spoof time zone. I already installed the user agent switcher. This is it. So we have what we call time zone spoofer. Now, now what the time zone spoofer does is that it automatically makes sure that your time zone, okay, this is it, your time zone matches exactly where your IP is. Because if you check here, one of the reasons why they are saying I'm not anonymous enough is the fact that they say my time zone is different. Okay, my time zone on my computer is different from the time zone of my IP address. Then also, we also have what we call script safe. Um, some people recommend no script, but I like script safe. Okay, the script safe. You can be able to use it to control what script runs and all of that. But sometimes it can make your connection to be slow and make a web page not to load properly. All right. Then there's the WebRTC's blockers. So what I do mostly, I don't trust only one WebRTC blockers. I just type WebRTC, and then yes, you see this one WebRTC limiter. It claims that it protects you from WebRTC fingerprinting and all of that. So what I do mostly is that I install like five or so. Yeah, this is one. Okay, so that even if your proxy doesn't hold, you'd be able to bypass the WebRTC fingerprinting. All right. Okay. So this is another one. I'm still gonna add it. Okay, so for since time is not on our side, you can add as much as you want or experiment with it. So let's say now my stuff is showing that I am from where? Okay, it says I'm from Nigeria. All right. So we are we are just going to start with the free proxies. All right. So these ones are all free proxies. Let me choose the elite level, which is the highest level, and then let me just choose, let's say, Canada, for instance. Let me say Canada. All right. So now I want to show you something. When it comes to the protocol of proxies, this one is not a VPN; it's a proxy. When it comes to the protocols, we have HTTP protocol. We have the one that uses the HTTPS. We have SOX 4 and we have SOX 5. All right. So this one we are using for, well, no IP. Oh, okay, okay. Now you can see what I was trying to say about script safe. So script safe is going to block some of the um, it's going to block the page from loading properly. Okay, so all I just need to do is allow this site temporarily, and then it's going to restart and it's going to work well. All right. So let's say now we see the speed of this one. It's saying it's 2.8 megabytes per second, and this is okay. We have one that's 3.4. Let's try this one because of the speed. So I'm just going to copy the IP and the ports. Okay, I'm going to copy it, and then I'll go to my Switchy Omega add-on and create a new profile. All right. Let's say I create this person and call it Camilla. How to spell Camilla? Okay. Camilla Austin. I think it's a double L. Camilla Austin. Okay. And then I create this person, and then the protocol is a SOX 4. I paste the server here, and then I paste the port here. And then I click on apply changes. So what I need to do now is to come to this place, where is it? Is to come to this place and apply this identity, right? So I could just go to DuckDuckGo, and then I could search for what is my okay. Okay. Oh, okay. I think I'll just have to trust this site. Okay, well, you can see now it's telling me that this is my location, this is my IP in Montreal, in Quebec, Canada, and then this is the zip code for my location. Okay, so I'll just disable this for now. Okay, so now we can see that our identity here is showing we are from Canada, unlike when it was disabled. Unlike when it was disabled. Uh, when I use direct and then I go to and then I say that is my IP. Okay, so all right, it's saying I'm in Victoria Island, Lagos, in Nigeria. Although I'm not in Victoria Island, but well, that's still close. Now, from this, we can see that we've already been able to change the geolocation part of what we are doing, and then you are going to see now it's going to change back to Canada. All right. So the whole idea why I always prefer socks over or proxy over VPN. The reason is because most times VPN tends not to be static. Okay, and yes, I know I talked about randomness, but it's also a very good way to mislead people when there are some things that are not always random. Like let's say your ISP. Okay, if every time I visit any site I use this location, this IP, is going to prove as if perhaps it's just someone who is now trying to anonymize their location. Maybe this is actually their real ISP. Okay, but then that will be just for this identity I'm using. But in this case, this is a free service, so lots of people are using it. All right, and then it's also another great thing to see that sometimes it's a great thing to use public um, proxies and public VPN like the Open VPN, which you can get for free. It's also a great idea, but when you're trying to do something really serious, I'm sure there's no need to use. You can just go for paid solutions instead. All right. So we are again going to do the whole anonymity check on who are to see what's actually um, okay. Okay, now because you're using a search proxy, it's bringing out the captcha for us. All right. So let's try to pass the test and check and see. Okay, it's asking for both. I think this is one. This is another one. This is one and this is one. And here, yeah, here. Yeah. Let's see.
Hello, Dr. Rosys.
Yes.
Before you go on, please, we can't see your screen anymore.
Wow. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh. God. Okay. Okay. Are we back now?
Yeah, it's back
Okay.
now.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. So, well, this is very poor. This is very poor. Okay. Can we notice something? It's saying my IP is in Canada. If you can see, my IP is in Canada. But then my DNS is showing Nigeria, and it's saying it's possible I'm using. Okay, now see another thing. It's saying that the IP is blacklisted. All right. So when we go on here to see, they are saying system time is different. IP is blacklisted. DNS is different. Okay. So currently we are having the issues of DNS leak, and all of that. So first, okay, let's work on the time zone thing and see. Okay, yeah, this is the time zone thing. Let's go and then we just click on update time zone from IP address. And I think that should be done. All right. So let's refresh the page again and see. Okay. Now, these are some of the things you experience with the paid all these free softwares and solutions. Can anyone still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello, is my audio clear?
Yeah, your audio is
All right.
clear. Your audio is good.
Okay, so now we'll fix the time zone difference, and I think we've moved 5% up. Okay, we see it's just the DNS and the IP blacklisting. All right. Now for the IP blacklisting, okay, this is where the script safe comes in. So if I enable script safe on this site and I refresh the site, I'm supposed to, okay, the whole, yeah, I'm going to allow um temporal, going to give it temporal access and refresh, and let's see if it's going to block the DNS, whatever. Oh, wow. Okay. Now it's not allow. Why we can't get any percentage is because the script safe is not allowing it to do some, should I say, some recon on us. Okay, let me allow a few. Temporal, temporal, temporal. Let's see. Let's refresh it again and see. Good. This thing is taking a lot of time. Okay, so yeah, mo- okay, most people realize that on Windows, if you're using a Windows system, um, it's really hard for you to torify your system. When I mean torify, I mean run your whole system through Tor network, like how we can do on Linux using Anon stuff. Okay, but there's a solution that offers what we call um, transparent Tor proxying on Windows. Okay, um, let me disable this and download the software. The name of the software is called Talo. Okay, yeah. So it's a kind of transparent Tor solution for Windows PC. So I just download this. And okay. So all right. No. So to run the Talo whatever is the Talo software is very easy. It's very easy. It's just about clicking and turning it on. Okay. I think I have to enable use. Okay. All right. So okay. So all you just need to do is you just click on this. Uh, okay. Let's wait for it to load. All right. You just click on this, and then it says Tor is on. And if you go to check, maybe okay. If you are using the Tor network, it's difficult for them to actually get your IP because I don't know. You already know how the Tor network works, so it will be difficult for someone to get your IP, and then your connection can be very slow most times. Okay, so what this does is that it makes your underlying network to run on the Tor network. And then, okay, this is how you know you're on the Tor network. It's saying your IP address is unavailable. If I go to what is my IP address.com, okay, yeah, this is how we know we're on the Tor network. It's going to bring out recaptcha for us and all of that. Okay. Oh, this is going back to my previous page. All right. So this is all about trying to now. If you see properly what I've done, we've tried to increase our anonymity level from being in Victoria Island to going to traveling all the way to Canada. All right. And still at that, we are still having a problem of blacklisted IP and all of that. And then we had to change. Okay, if you check, this is my user agent. I'm using um, Safari on Mac. Okay, which is shown here instead of Windows and all of that. Then my time zone, I was able to change it and all that. Okay, so but this one I think is a little bit very stressful. Okay, that's why we have paid solutions. Paid solution make it a lot easier and a lot more secure for you. So there's what we call 911. So 911 provides you socks and all of that. So this is my 911 account, and I'm going to log in now to show you how it works. Okay. Hello. Are we still connected?
Very well connected.
All right. So Okay, so this is how the 911 proxy works. It allows you to. Okay, currently I have 570 proxies which I can use. It you first have to add your browsers that you want to use with this here. So um, we've been using, is it Brave browser, and we've configured all of that. So let's say we go to Vivaldi. Let's say I open my Vivaldi browser. Okay, I can choose to go to. Um, okay, let's say. All right, all right. Okay, so if you notice, wow. Okay, so if you notice, I have the time zone or whatever here. I'm going to remove this because we won't be needing it when we are using the. Okay, so here it has a list of countries you can choose from. So let's say this is Australia, right? And then I can choose any state and any city. So I'm going to search for proxies available. And okay, this is one. Okay. Now the whole advantage of choosing this, you are going to see it's a lot secure and a lot real compared to using a proxy like the SOX4 and then having to manually change all this. Now here in the settings, you can choose user agent. You can choose random user agents, and then it, it randomizes your user agent every time. Or you can choose to use a custom user agent, okay? Or you could choose to use your browser default. All right, and then okay, in the referral, if you someone who likes to put referrals, like you want to customize everything to every bit, you can add your own custom referral. Okay, um then there are lots and lots of settings you can just play around. Okay, now you can choose what countries to use. You can, like here we see that it disables the WebRTC. We don't need add-ons for that. Okay, um we can also see okay, most times proxy servers are detected by use when they run on this on a specific port. So here you can always choose to use random ports, or you can use a custom port that nobody would suspect is used for a proxy service. All right, so I'm just going to go straight ahead and choose one. Let me see this one. This I'm going to choose this one. I think that's the second one. Yes, and all I need to do is click on connect. Once I click on connect, it's going to close all the browsers. Okay, now you see this is my proxy info. And if I open the Vivaldi again, now notice unlike the before I had unlike the previous time where we were using the Brave browser, we had to change everything manually. Okay, we had to spoof our time zone, we had to change our user agent, we had to block our WebRTC on our own. Now, when I do, what is my IP here? Okay, well, it says we are in Australia. All right, this is great. Now let's go back to the WHOR to see. Sorry, let's go back to WHOR.net to see how we're doing. All right. All right. So Wow, you can see this is saying I'm on Windows 10. Yeah, I'm on Windows 10 because I'm using my browser defaults. And the whole idea of DNS switching, you can see the whole DNS is issued in Australia. Is it a proxy? No. Is it blacklisted? No. Now, it's giving us 100% anonymity when in reality, all we just did was connect to a paid SOX 5 provider. All right. Now, anywhere you go to check this, it's going to tell you there's another site I use. I think it's what is my IP address.com. A very long site. Yes, this is it. What is my IP address.com? So what this does is it blocks the whole WebRTC and all of that, unlike the previous one where we had to manually do everything. And okay, well, so if you come here, it's already showing that, like, if you are using a proxy service, then when you visit the site, it's going to tell you that you are using a shared service, or it's going to even go straight ahead and tell you that you are using a proxy service, right? So this site has what we call the advanced proxy check. The advanced proxy check, and I hope we pass this. Okay, so we are going to click on the advanced proxy check, and then it's going to check our proxy, and you can see it says proxy server not detected. So it means when it comes to tracking, someone tracking us, it's going to show that our location is truly in Australia. All right. Okay. So um, that's that. This is just how to be. So when you're using services that really requires extreme anonymity, you can just go for this and ease yourself the whole stress um, doing doing the manual stuff. But yes, you can still do all those stuff for randomness. That's why this one also have the features like I showed you earlier, user agent. You can choose to use random user agents. So you try to make sure you don't um, you don't use a pattern. So we have, I'm going to show you some unique generators, some random data generators. We have the what the name address generator. Have the name and address generator. Okay, and then all right. So this is a fake address generator. We have I think random.org. Yeah. So random.org can generate a lot of random things for you. Okay. So is a virtual identity state. What's the first name? The name is Kelvin Pierce. This is the date of birth. Social. Don't worry, this social security is not real. It's not a valid one. And if you don't know, okay, let me do a check for you so that you know all these things are just fake. Okay, so this is random.org. Now random.org can generate lots of random stuff for you. All right. So it also have the paid services and the free services, right? But the free services is enough to generate lots of things for you. Okay. So we have the string generators. You can use this one for generating passwords. Sorry, username for yourself. We have the password generator. We have calendar. We have lots of things this thing can do for you. So you just play around So, okay, to prove to you that this is just a fake ID, let's go. The first, this is, sorry, okay, we're going to paste that here. And then we're going to 04, that's 04, then that is 4930. And let's see, let's try to verify it and see. Wow, okay. It says it's a valid SSN from California. Let's see. Oh, really? Okay. Alright, so this is even better. This is giving you, but don't worry, this SSN is not linked to this person. Alright. And if you don't believe me, let's try to do a person check on this person and see. Um, okay, so but okay, this is just for US. You can generate this for all countries. When you click on all countries, any ID, anyhow. Let's say, okay, I'm using Australia right now. So if I go to, I'm not saying Australia. Okay, yeah, Australia is at the top. Alright. So this is for Australia. Now, there are some places like some sites that validate addresses. So in case sites like I think PayPal does that, they validate your address. So all these fake ones won't work for you. So that's where we have the real addresses. Okay, the real addresses is just for Australia, Canada, UK, and the US. But there are also ways for you to get real addresses too. Okay, so I just want to I just want us to see if the identity that is created to us by these people, by this fake site generator, is actually valid. Okay, sorry, hope you all can still see my screen.
Yeah, we can still see it. We can still see it.
All right. Okay, so if we check from here, let's go back and see. This is Kevin Pierce. Right. So we put his first name Kevin Pierce, and then they say he's in Los Angeles. Okay, let's search for him and see if we can find him. So from what we're saying, your thought is how many years? 1997. All right. So 1997 to now should be 20, 23 years, right? Okay, but we are not going to. I'm definitely sure you're not going to see the person. Now, how do we know it's fake? How do we know it's fake? We are not going to see the person. Yes, but I just wanted you to see that we are not going to see the person. That is not actually a real human being. Even though the SSN is valid, it's telling us it's a valid SSN. We are not going to see the person. Why? Now, check. This is telling us that this SSN belongs to someone who is at around 53 years. Okay? And then the date of birth we are getting here is telling us this person is 23 years. All right? So this is how you just know these things are. Now, you might wonder, why is this thing now telling us that the SSN is valid? Now, SSN issuers in the US follows a pattern, all right? And then when they are creating this stuff, it generates the pattern. So it's definitely going to have a hit that that kind of SSN has been issued. Now you can even see something like this credit card number and all of that in case. And funny enough, these things work for some sites that don't know how to properly validate credit card. You can just paste this and put, but don't worry, you can't use it to purchase anything. Just some sites that do free trial and all of that. You can actually, instead of using your own card, you can generate all these virtual fake cards, and then you can use them to bypass, maybe get access to a site or access free trials and all of that, instead of using your personal details. All right. So for some countries that don't have all this stuff like the real addresses, and then the real addresses are very rare. Sorry, I mean they are very little. Okay, like this one is in South Carolina. This one's in California, New Jersey. So what if, okay, you want an address in Texas, for instance, or you want an address in Michigan or Mississippi? Just remember, all these are virtual addresses. It's not like you are doing an identity theft or something. It's just you trying to create a digital address for your, a digital identity for yourself, creating a citizenship of any place for yourself. Now, there's an easy way I used to get real addresses in any, let's say the US, any country you want, really. Let's say, for example, I need an address in New York. I could just go and say, New York Realtors. Okay, so when you search for realtors in any country, now you are going to see advertisements for houses. Now, this here is an address. You don't even need to go anywhere. This is 30 Hillside, Staten Island, New York. This is 19 Noah's, whatever. Um, all in Staten Island. All right. So if you want to validate this address, is really easy. You could just let me go with the 19 Noah, whatever. Let's see. Um, Staten Island. Okay, I'm going to search this through Google. And one thing you should know is that when you're using this SOC 5 proxy, all these whole issues of captcha and the rest, you don't face them anymore. So if you search for this, I'm sure it's okay. Yeah, this is it. So that's how you know you are okay. So this is a real location. Then there's also what we call RDPs. Okay, you can use RDPs, which are I think you can get RDP for like $4, and then for a month. And RDP also give you another level of anonymity, because in this case you're not even using, you don't need to use a proxy. It's going to give you the location of the country it's been hosted in. All right, so some are based in US, some are based in Australia, Sweden, Switzerland. So you can get yourself an RDP. I I think we are running out of time. If not, I would have shown you how to get an RDP, how to make the purchase, how to set it up, and all of that. Because but that should be an assignment for you to do. Okay, so um, these are some of the tools that help us to get anonymity. And funny enough, let me show you guys something. Don't don't think your country is not here. Let me search for NG Nigeria, and then that you want to use a proxy or all of that doesn't mean you can't use a proxy like in Nigeria. Okay, this is I don't have MTN. I don't use MTN, so I'm going to choose MTN. Okay, I'm going to connect to this, and yeah, so it's going to show I'm in Lagos. I'm using MTN and all of that. But in case you still want the state to change, let's say I want to use Delta State, for instance. Delta. I hope they have Delta. Delta. Oh, and I search for Delta. Okay, there's no Delta. Edo. Let me see. Wow. Sorry. Lagos is LA. ABJ. Okay. All right. Okay. So, this stuff uses two-letter abbreviation. So let's check the two-letter abbreviation for any state, for all the states in Nigeria, and see. So, what I'm trying to tell you is that even if you are not trying to change your IP address to another location outside Nigeria, you can still use a location that is in Nigeria. Okay, so let's refresh this and see what's our anonymity level. Okay, it's saying it's 90%. Now I don't know, but recently I noticed that most whatever, oh shit, what was this, Belgium? Okay, I noticed that when you visit most sites, Nigerian IPs are usually blacklisted. I don't know why that is. Even Glow, Airtel, and all of that, their IP are usually blacklisted. Okay, and then sometimes you realize that your DNS doesn't match. Now my DNS is showing Belgium. You understand, this is actually good for being anonymous because your DNS is in one country, your IP address is shown in another country. Sometimes it's really good because it's going to throw someone off. So someone that sees this would think, okay, this guy thinks he's smart. He's claiming he's from Nigeria while his DNS is showing he's from Belgium. So this guy is in Belgium. You understand? So sometimes it's actually good, but most times it's not good, especially when you want to use them for serious business. It's not actually good. It's good for you to block this whole DNS stuff. But using a different DNS, as far as it's not it's not leaking your real DNS, then I think that is a very great one. And using public IP address proxies and public um, VPNs like OpenVPN and all of that, sometimes it actually helps because you paying for all these services is another way of getting your personal information. All right, but services like this that are paid through Bitcoin, I I think they are a lot more anonymous compared to those ones where you have to put your cards and all of that. All right, and then there are also services that you can use to get virtual cards. All right, so these virtual cards doesn't actually have to have your real details. Okay, you can just use virtual card. It doesn't have to be linked to your bank uh, and all of that. You can create a virtual card. I think in Nigeria, basically, there are some services that offers this. We have services like Bitseeker, we have Get Better. Those are the two major companies that offers these services that I use personally. Okay, so um, I think this is the little we can do for today. Yeah, and then okay, I'm going to stop the screen share now so that we'll be able to take some question and answer. All right.
Wow, wow. This is amazing and too much because it's It's beyond what I thought we could do. Thanks a lot for the great tools and insights you've given us this evening. So, if you have any question, you can just drop it so he could answer. But about the virtual cards, I couldn't get the site. Can you just type it on the comment box for us? Yeah, interesting indeed. Brim said it's very interesting. In fact, I'll go over and over and over this video. Okay, get better. So I think it's Bitsika. All right, cool. Um, but do you think with all these tools, can someone really be anonymous on the internet? With the fact that, given the fact that maybe it's all the security agencies that owns all those companies that you were mentioning, or maybe the tools are being developed by them, or maybe the government officials will come and will go to those companies and get information from them. So, do you really think there's a complete anonymity on the internet? Dr. Rosys, are you on? You can unmute, sir. Can hear you.
Okay, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes,
All
yes.
right. I said there's no complete anonymity on the internet, right? But then you can try as much as you can to just make it hard for someone to spot you, and that has to do with being uniquely random. All right. Now I know that will seem a lot confusing. How can you be random and be unique at the same time? So I think that's the whole trick to being anonymous. If you can be uniquely random, then you've got the keys to being anonymous. So I shared you people another site, paga.com. Now, just like in Nigeria, most banking services won't allow you enroll without your BVN. So Paga is one of the services that you can be able to do transactions with without using your real details. You can make payments, collect payments, and all of that without actually using your real details there. So I think it's kind of Nigerian's anonymous bank or something. So for people who would like to try that, because when you're using Bitsika and Get Better to create your virtual card, you are most likely going to add fund those accounts. You are going to fund them before you can get the card, and then funding them means making a transfer from your bank account to that. But then when you transfer from people like Paga, it means you can just use any name, any address, any date of birth. It doesn't mean to do your transactions there. So it's um, it's a little bit anonymous compared to the traditional banks. So please, if you have questions, and yeah, I still want to apologize for yesterday. Yesterday I was caught up in something I didn't plan for, so I begged our sponsor, is it our sponsor or our host, Mr. Joshua, to please extend or postpone it to today, and then I told him I was going to do some giveaways. So I would be giving premium logins to people. I'm going to give 911 proxy login to people. I'm going to give free virtual cards and all of that. But the thing here is, it's not going to be this night. So we are going to do it on the community forum. It could be on the Telegram or WhatsApp forum, and I'm not going to announce the dates yet. So everybody have to be active. But it's going to be this month, all right? It's going to be this month. So you have to be active. It could be any day, and then make your research. Um, Try to stay updated. You can always post questions on the WhatsApp or Telegram forum, and you'll be attended to, because there are lots of great guys out there in the forum. All right. So okay, press cyber. You said so. 911 tool seems pretty interesting, but since it's a Windows software, is there a way to use its services on Linux without installing? Okay. Yeah, actually, there's a way you can use it on Linux. There's what we call the forwarding proxy, forward proxy. So when you forward, you can even use it on your Android and your iOS devices. So when you forward, um, okay, when you enable the port forwarding feature, it means you can use it on your Linux. It's just a little bit configurations, proxy configuration, like how you do your proxy change, and then you can also use it on your smartphone or your Android and your um, iPhones. So yes, you can use it outside Windows, right? And it's very easy to use. So okay, caller Adelakin said, any advice for someone looking for a job and wants to remain anonymous? All right, good. Um, First off, is going to be, what kind of job are we talking about? Is it a physical job or a remote job? Right, because yeah, if it's a remote job, then yes, it's really easy for you to stay online. Now, I don't know if your employer is going to see it as a fraud, or they'll be okay with it, because you can actually take courses and all of that. If you have the skills, yes, you can create an identity for yourself that you use online, and you can use them for your certification courses and all of that, and you can create get a job without actually using your personal details. So yes, it's very, yes, it's very possible. It's very possible for you to get a good paying job without exposing yourself. So okay, Yakubu says some VPN providers claim they don't share your info, but they do. Okay, all right. So if I would recommend VPNs that really won't share your information. Um, I think any VPN that you can pay through um, Bitcoin would be good. But I know personally of Proton VPN, the people who provides Proton Mail, their VPN solution, they don't share. All right, they won't share your information. And then just search for any VP. You can make a research. Any VPN provider that you know that
I think we lost you, sir.
are based in.
Okay, okay. You're back.
Okay, sorry, I didn't get you, Mr. Joshua.
Yeah, I said we lost you for some seconds.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I was saying that VPN providers from Netherlands are really great solutions to use if you really don't want um, the whole tracking stuff. But then, even if your VPN says they are going to share, this is what I do. This is what I do before I use a VPN. I make sure that my underlying network is on top. All right. If I'm on Windows, I use the Talo software I showed you guys earlier. But if I'm on Linux, I use Anonsoft. Okay, Anonsoft comes by default on Parrot. But then I think I heard recently that Kali has introduced Anonsoft by default. Yeah, but if it's not on your Kali machine, then you can actually use you can install it manually on your own. It's very easy to install. It doesn't take no time. So make sure that your underlying network is on top. Okay, and then or you can just use a proxy as now I showed you guys mostly the browser based proxy, but then even those free proxy, those software, you can actually use them on your system wide proxy. Windows has the setting for proxy, Linux has the settings where you put your proxy server and the proxy port. Okay, so just before you use a VPN, if you are going to use a VPN on your device, try to make sure you are on Tor. Then you now put the VPN on it. So even if the VPN is going to get any information, already you have some sort of anonymity line beneath the VPN. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. So if you are asking me for the best VPN solution to use, I would recommend you go for Proton VPN. Okay, but if you go by the trick I use, which is having Tor as the underlying foundation of your proxy, and then putting a VPN on it, and then you can even do more proxies in the browser. Uh, that would be great for you.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you so much, Redfish.
I think it's better because some people will want to, some people are starting out their day in the night. Talking about people like Dr. Rosys, actually. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. I think Mr. Rufish will finish it or will take it off from me.
Oh, okay.
All right, Dr. Rosys, thank you very much for joining this session.
I'm really glad.
We want to, we want to appreciate you for giving our time to actually join us, and it has been a very insightful session, and it's an eye opener for most of us. So once again, I want to say thank you for taking our time to be
I'm
here.
glad. Thank you so much.
Also, want to thank all our attendees. Thank you for taking our time to join us. If you are just joining us, kindly check out our social media platforms. Follow us on Twitter, join our WhatsApp group, join our Telegram group. So, and also always check our social media platforms to be up to date as we have other events coming up. So that will be all for tonight. It has been a very long session, and we don't want to keep you further than necessary. So I would like to say thank you once again for taking out to join us, and we hope to see you around some other time. So good night, good morning, good afternoon from wherever you are joining us, and we'll see you some other time. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.